Hey guys, we have Griffin versus SKT. This was such a hyped up finals. So I think if I remember, my predictions for this were 3-1 Griffin to SKT. I'm actually pretty disappointed in my own prediction. I think I was really pressured in the situation with Dorian and LS to pick Griffin, and I should have just stood my ground and picked SKT. So I know it's all in hindsight, and I did pick Griffin. It's the momentum of SKT, like walking into the series, and also how various players were talking about SKT, made me more lean towards SKT and made it more scary towards SKT. And we can really see it in the scrim results. We can really see it in the results of this game, and we can really feel what people meant by the scrim result of SKT and why they were considering SKT to be really strong. So without further ado, let's start this VOD review. So Griffin leading with a Jace ban. And then SKT banning Kalista, Griffin banning Catch. These bans are very standard across the board. I mean, everyone knows about Kana and his Jace, everyone knows about Viper and his Kalista, and also kind of Galio, how well Griffin uses Galio. So the Morg ban and the Tahm Kench ban is a little weird, but we'll be able to see why later. And one thing that was super strange was SKT letting Sylas open, which has been pretty much a staple ban in competitive from Purple side. I think they came to the conclusion Sylas for Rides is an okay trade, and that's why they did it. Yeah, they feel like Sylas for Rides is a fair trade. That's why SKT does it. And then Rek'Sai, one of the strongest junglers in the meta. So when they pick Talia Pantheon, we can understand the Tahm Kench and the Morgana ban so much better. Talia Pantheon are an off-meta duo that destroys bot lane. Like, their job is to search and destroy. Like, they want to kill the laners, and Morgana and Kench prevents a lot of that. That's why the Kench Morgana ban came down, to make it easier to play Pantheon Talia. They were just going to get whatever OP was open here. They were surprised that it ended up being Sylas, but I think this OP pick was going to be either a Rides, it was going to be either a Irelia or a Kali, just an OP pick that's open, and taking Talia Pantheon in their 2 and 3. So SKT responds with, what did they respond with? Braum, I think? Yeah, they responded with Braum. Oh wait, they got Israel. So Israel, I talk about Varus, Ashe, and Sivir being the main 3 AD carries in the meta. It's a little bit different in Korea, and it's a little bit different when you have a player like Teddy on board. And also, Israel's a great pick into Talia and Pantheon, who are must-kill-you duo. And then banning Jarvan. Looks like they want to kind of make sure Griffin can't complete their comp. So even though they have Pantheon by himself is not a great engager, so probably banning out Jarvan to get rid of a great engager. Banning Lee is more of a target ban towards Tarzan. I thought Lee ban was kind of a little weird. I don't really see it. LeBlanc ban is to make sure they don't pick LeBlanc into Sylas mid. Nico ban, I honestly have no idea. Braum ends up being like a really good pick into Talia. You can block a lot of the Talia damage, and you can also block Talia wall when she's trying to cut you off. Olaf, one of the better picks into Rek'Sai. The most popular picks into Rek'Sai are most probably Olaf and Skarner right now, and Akali to just finish out the 1-3-1 comp. Hecarim into Akali, another common pick that's played nowadays, especially with all the Hecarim buffs. I don't remember exactly where Sylas and Akali went, but from what I recall, Sylas is much better mid laner. So yeah, I can't imagine. I mean, I can see Sylas going top, but I would imagine it would be Sylas mid over Sylas top. Oh, they ended up sending Sylas top. Okay. Sylas top into Heka. Let's see how that matchup goes. But Griffin's goal is, and this is what I mean regarding kind of the scrim results. So from what I heard of scrim results, SKT was just fucking killing it, and they were god tier in team fights. So I think what Griffin is saying by going into this kind of cheesy comp is, we cannot beat you guys head to head. We cannot beat you guys in a straight up 5v5, and we have to throw a curveball. We have to get you off your comfort. So that's how I viewed it across the whole series. If they only used Taliyah Pantheon for game 1 and they moved on to more normal picks, I would change my read on the situation. But just from watching SKT dominance, oh my god, Mata. But from watching SKT dominance and knowing that Griffin pulls out Pantheon Taliyah again, I think Griffin did not feel confident in taking on SKT meta to meta, like, and going just like 5 meta champs into 5 meta champs versus SKT. They felt like there wasn't a chance they win that way, so they leaned more towards Taliyah Pantheon and beating them in a different way. Blue buff and bait start from Olaf. It's actually really good from Griffin that they're able to do this, because when you play versus a Braum, normally the Braum team has the better level 1, but because the Braum got first blooded and also they were able to late invade and get the wards down, like Olaf has all the vision and all the assurance he needs to know he can start bot side, or he can start enemy blue. So one thing that Teddy and Mata really need to make sure is they need to make sure they're not diveable. They have to do everything in their part to make sure they're not diveable. Yeah, really great job from Mata there, making sure he wasn't diveable. Because that was a play they planned. Invade blue, died them at level 2. SKT saw that play coming in advance, and they made sure they were full HP. They made sure they were safe, and they made sure they weren't going to get dope. Just really well played. That was definitely a practice play from Griffin. Griffin practiced that play. SKT didn't practice that play. Mata and Teddy were smart enough to know that play was coming, and they just reacted to it very well. I will say one thing like miraculous about Chobi Akali, not just like how well he plays Akali. Chobi Akali in lane almost never misses CS. He always has incredibly high amount of CS whenever he plays Akali. So what is Clit doing here? Why is Clit boss side just chilling and not ganking? You're a Rek'Sai, you should be ganking. You should be ganking for the Akali. You're a Rek'Sai. One, as the Rek'Sai into Olaf, you actually have early game problems fighting the Olaf. So there's one of the reasons why he's not ganking. And the other reason is you don't want to gank the Pantheon Taliyah lane. Like a lot of times when you gank the Pantheon Taliyah lane, you get your head busted open. So what he's doing there is just making sure that the lane can go even, and to make sure that the Braum Israel lane doesn't get busted wide open. So he's just there to hold hands for Braum Israel and making sure they can scale into mid game where their comp is going to be much better. Yeah, so that's just what the Rek'Sai is doing. He's covering, making sure they don't get dope, making sure they don't get ganked, making sure their head doesn't get busted open. Like, they understand how to play versus Taliyah Pantheon very well. Like, they know, long as we don't get our heads busted open, we're completely fine. Good roam from Khan, but it's a fucking Akali, can't really do much versus it. Giving up things that are needed to be give up. SKT, I'm not sure if it's because Mata died at level 1, but they're very content not taking fights versus Taliyah Pantheon early on, which is the right way to play versus Taliyah Pantheon. Wow, I'm so surprised Sword actually got a solo kill on Khan. I mean, they were able to finish it up with Clid later on, but the fact that Khan is actually getting a solo kill on Sword is crazy. He would probably die too, right? Silas? I'd have to go back and rewatch the situation. But, I mean, just that one solo kill, why that's so good is he was doing that kill when the wave was pushing into Khan, so Khan would be forced to miss the wave when they traded 1-for-1 there, so it's just really good for Sword. I know I keep saying the same thing over and over again, but I cannot overemphasize how good it is from the Israel Braum side to not get their head busted open by the Talia Pantheon and just play normally. So this is a very practice play. The timing they're backing on, level 6 Talia, level 6 Pantheon, and the wave kind of push, like they're not doing this randomly. This is very, very practice play for Griffin, and this is something they prep. That level 1 invade into forcing the level 2 dive, and also this play. Let's watch how clean they do it. They recall, they both have their globals, and they're going topside immediately. Like there's no hesitation. The way they're doing this play tells me Griffin practiced this comp and they were trying to do this. Like, why are they trying to gank a lane that's pushing out? Like this lane is pushing out. Like they practiced this timing before and they know when they gank on this timing, like more likely than not it worked out. Maybe it's unfortunate. Maybe SKT read them well, but this was a practice play that's kind of fucking up for Griffin. Talia Pantheon late lane swap into getting Scuttle into pressuring topside. That was their like game plan. Sword actually does such a good job defending turret here. Able to go back, make sure they don't get the turret, and they're able to get the second turret too. So a lot of people are like, why didn't Faker just roam top and defend the turret with Khan? Because Chobi would follow and they would lose the turret anyways. Able to get the turret, while Thor defended the turret bottom. So while a lot of things are going well for Griffin, they got the first Inferno Drake, they have 2 turrets, while SKT has 0 turrets. Scaling later on is going to be a huge issue. It's so lucky for Griffin that the first 2 dragons are Inferno, because it's helping with their scaling so much. I mean, the better dragon would have been if they got double Earth, but double Inferno is also so nice. Allows them to scale, allows them to delay the point where SKT's team fighting is just way too strong. Like, it's helping Griffin stay in the game, these double Infernos. Oh, they're not going to get... Well, so let's pause for a second. This team fight timing right now is so good for Griffin. Due to the items on Akali, and also right now, Israel and Braum hasn't completely outscaled Talia Pantheon yet. I would still say Talia Pantheon are the stronger duo. So this timing that they're fighting on, I think is actually very favorable for Griffin. Just one thing that's a little bit questionable is if you see Akali, she's all the way over here, so she's gonna have to walk all the way like this before she can join the fight. And rest of SKT is all here, Hecarim here, Faker here, Clit here, Teddy here, Mata here. So they're already 5 as a group. So yeah, outside of Akali positioning, I think this is really good for Griffin. But maybe that one Akali positioning is bad enough where it's gonna fuck them. Let's see. Let's play at normal speed. Rek'Sai able to get Inferno. Oh, SKT able to make it out on the rise ult. Wow. Damn, that was actually so well done for SKT. Oh! Just as I was about to say that. Thord escapes. Okay. So no one dies. That's so good for SKT. The fact that no one dies, they're able to burn, teleport, and flash on Thord. And they're able to get Griffin to group up for Dragon. And while being the weaker team, they were able to sneak the Inferno Drake away. So good for SKT to prevent Griffin from stacking Infernos. Yeah, these Pantheons are not that great. If they're gonna do this, I think Pantheon ults early and then he's fine with dying. Because he's like delaying the engage so much, where he should have ulted when the dragon was still up. I think they delayed the engage because Akali wasn't there, but I think they just have to start the fight. If they delay the engage too much, then SKT makes it out like that. We're slowly approaching the point where Ezreal is going to be stronger than... Ezreal Braum is going to be stronger than Taliyah Pantheon. Whenever Ezreal gets 2 items, that's where the real world starts for Ezreal. That's when he really starts getting strong. So I would imagine somewhere around 19 minutes, 20 minutes, Ezreal will have double items. Do you like Ezreal in this comp, or think another champion would be better? I love Ezreal in this comp. I think Ezreal's really core to this comp. SKT giving away outer turrets. They know they can get easily dove, trying to defend outer turrets, so giving it up. They're just playing extremely, extremely intelligent right now. They know what Griffin comp is good at, and they're preventing what Griffin comp is good at. Dive plays in side lanes, small skirmishes, early team fights. SKT like being very slippery, not taking anything that's good for Griffin. Alright, Teddy has his mana immune. He's probably going to get Trinity on this back. Oh yeah, he does something super weird on this back. I think he's going to sell his boost to make sure he can have Trinity mana immune. Yeah. So Inferno's coming up, and Teddy really wants to be at 2 items, so he's like, fuck it, I'm going to sell my boost to make sure I can have Trinity mana immune. He literally sold his boost there. I haven't seen a player do this in such a long time, sell boost to make sure you can get your item. Sometimes AD carries will do it when they need to finish Infinity Edge or Trinity Force, and this is the case, and Teddy did it. He was considering either waiting in base for the gold or selling it, and he's like, fuck it, I'm going to sell it to make sure I'm there on time for Dragon. Teddy does, well, he did it in Kingdom series as well. He does this quite often, I guess. To make sure he can have double Trinity and mana immune at this timing, he really values that. So now the timing finally came where SKT is stronger, Israel level 11, so, and he has double items without the boost. He has Trinity and mana immune. So yeah, this is the point where SKT is very happy and they'll actually start taking fights on versus Griffin. Do the poke, poke, poke. Do the poke, poke, poke. Khan off to the side. Fighting the support one-on-one. Fighting Lihan one-on-one. Khan's able to solo kill Lihan. Okay, Lihan actually made it out. But this collapse from rest of SKT is going to be brutal. Yeah, Khan can rejoin the fight. Lihan can't. And SKT just wins the fight. At this point, they're stronger. At this point, like, Taliyah Pantheon wasn't able to snowball. Realistically, game is so hard for Griffin. Even though they got the second Inferno, or the third Inferno, and they now have 2 Infernos, the outscaling point already came. Chobi living here is fucking miraculous, though. Griffin has the outer turrets. Griffin has 1 more Inferno Drake, but just due to the comp difference, like Pantheon and Taliyah, they age like spoiled milk. These champions, if you're not able to snowball your early game lead, these champions are not good, and they're not able to snowball their early game lead. Yeah, now when it gets to teamfight phase, I just don't see how Griffin can win. SKT still has 3 stopwatch, 1 on Hecarim, 1 on Rise, 1 on Braum. Israel hit his power spike. It's going to be really fucking hard for Griffin to take a good fight on them. They're just not going to be good fights available. If anything, what Griffin can do is if they can catch someone and rush Baron, that might be a play, but other than that, they really don't have good plays. So Faker getting killed off to the side. Mata also got killed off to the side. Well, they might actually get the chance at what I talked about, killing people and getting a shot at Baron. But they feel like they don't have enough damage on Baron, and they also don't have an Earthstrike, and they feel like they don't want to do Baron versus Ezreal, so they're just running. Yeah, ooh, Faker thought he could make it out because he had Banshees, but his Banshee got cancelled by Olaf and then getting caught out in the process. This is how they want to use Pantheon, to catch people off to the side. The fact that this is the first instance where they actually got to use it and they caught someone is really bad. The fact that this kind of play only came at 24 minutes into the game and it didn't come earlier. Alright, let's see this. Both teams more than willing to take this fight. Ezreal now has Hex Drinker. Faker, even with the early deaths, like he still rides with 2 items. He's not scared at all. He's rides with Banshees and Seraph's complete. He's not scared at all. The people that are really strong on Griffin's side is Chobi, but the carries on SKT itemize really well already, where Teddy has a Hex Drinker, Faker has a Banshees. They're both not afraid of the Akali. Walled off. Starting Dragon. The wall doesn't last as long as it used to because of the patch. Fight's gonna come down. Let's see. When Chobi is on the same side as everyone, and you can see Teddy and Faker in the back, and Chobi right here, and there's no flank angles, and he has to come straight, it's much worse for Akali, and it's much worse for Griffin in general. They want to be flanking from the backside. They want to be getting multi-angled fight, but this 5th versus 5th fight is not that great for Griffin. They want multi-angle, but they're not getting it. I can already tell you how this fight goes. They're not going to be able to kill Ryze and Israel, and they're going to be able to win the fight. So Olaf got the Dragon, so Tarzan's still a god with smites. And then Griffin ends up backing up. Even with SKT losing out on these Dragons, they're not sad at all. They know time is on their side. They know if they keep scaling, they're going to win. The face when your AD damage is Pantheon and Olaf Pepe hands. Yeah, it's just, this is a very, what I would call a spoiled milk comp. Your comp scales like spoiled milk. So they got Baron, which is great. Like, getting Baron there is really good for Griffin. Like, they have Earthstrike, they have Inferno. Like, all these things that are happening for Griffin is great, but they're basically missing 2 champions in support and AD carry. Talia and Pantheon, while they're good, the scaling difference is completely different. Like, later on in team fights, like, it's not going to compare. The backline of Ezreal plus Ryze is going to be unfucking stoppable. And Pantheon is worthless as a champion at this point. He does nothing. Pantheon really does, like, nothing. He provides vision as a support, and he's a stun bot that can be easily cancelled out by a cleanse. Like, Pantheon is so worthless at this point. Also, Sword went a kind of a defensive build, one that doesn't include Voice Staff or Death Cap, so his damage is not off the chart either. At this point, like, as it keeps scaling, it's just going to get worse and worse. I'm keep saying the same thing, but SKT is holding on without, like, really throwing the game away. Even when they give up Baron, even when they give up Earthstrike, they're not throwing their entire team away because they know, get to a certain point, start team fighting, and we're going to win off that. Let's see this. Let's see this. SKT's actually giving us so much more objectives than I thought they would. I guess they feel like they can't take that Earthstrike fight and everyone's spread out. Yeah, now Faker has Death Cap. Hecarim also has Visage. They're very well itemized. They're realizing that SKT is missing a lot of AD damage. The only AD damage they have is Olaf and Pantheon. And Pantheon's a support champion. He's not a champion with a lot of gold. He's not going to be doing a lot of AD damage. And Olaf built very tanky and very utility heavy. He built Thunderhawk, he built Redemption, he built Gargoyles. Olaf is not going to do a lot of AD damage. So SKT itemizing very heavily on MR like they should. And they're just very smart and they understand this game and what Griffin is trying to do and how they can prevent Griffin from doing what they want to do. Thank you so much for the 3-month sub, Winchester. All right. Now SKT finally feels confident. They're starting up Baron. They're like, come into us. Let's take this 5v5. We've outscaled you enough. You lost. Wow. They have to be really careful when they back here. If they give an opening where Griffin can take Baron, Baron with double or straight means they're going to take inhibitors on SKT. As much ahead SKT is with their comp, they still have to be careful about giving up Baron and the game ending from that. They are playing the game so slow. After watching EU LCS and coming back to watch this, like, it's very apparent like how slow the games are comparatively. All right, team fight finally starting out. Oof, let's slow down and rewatch this. Okay, let's go to normal speed. Talia trying to get a wall. The thing that we talked about happened. Braum using his E to block off the wall. They're trying to go on Faker, but Faker using his Ride's passive shield to get a shield and get a movement speed bonus. And remember, he has a Banshee. He's extremely tanky. Griffin not able to finish off Faker. And Panth getting caught in the process. Hecarim coming in, flanking from the side. They're able to kill Pantheon. Hecarim buys time with Stopwatch and then uses ult. Just SKT team fighting is too strong at this point and Griffin can't handle it. This point in the game was going to come sooner or later and it finally came and SKT is taking full advantage of it. They try to push mid with Rise ult and creeps, but they didn't have enough creeps, so they had to go back and they're going to get Baron. And yeah, the game's realistically over at this point. Game's been realistically over for a while. SKT recognized they were the more outscaling team and they played very safe. It is not easy to do what SKT did, stall out the game so much, especially against good teams like Griffin, but they were able to do it and they got to the outscale point and now they're just smashing them. Now this is the second big objective fight, Elder. Griffin can't give this up. SKT more than happy to take the fight or push with Baron. They have so much options. It's SKT's world now. It's not Griffin world. Griffin world, it was Griffin's world from minute 1 to 10, and Griffin didn't get anything done on Griffin world timing. They already have an inhibitor. Yeah. Oh wow, holy shit. The Pantheon stole Elder, but it doesn't matter. Like, look at the team fighting strength difference. This is with Pantheon stealing Elder. Imagine what would have happened if Elder didn't get stolen. I mean, Chobi's a damn good Akali. Like, don't get me wrong, but at this point, oh my god, that's like Prey Ash Arrow from Worlds. Like, Chobi's a damn good Akali, but it didn't matter in this game. The comp was about SKT defending against the early dives, and they were able to defend against the early dives, and that was it. That was it. Damn. So, in isolation, we can look at this game one as Griffin came prepared with a Chief. Their Chief didn't work, and they're going to go back to regular play. Let's go to game 2. But in the big picture of things, it's Griffin recognized that they couldn't beat SKT in a straight up 5-5, so they're taking a different approach. All right, this time SKT blue side, Rides ban. SKT considers Rides. I'm not sure how SKT is valuing Rides because they're leaving open Silas on purple and banning Rides on blue. Banning more quirky. These are interesting bans from SKT. I guess Chobi is a great quirky. And Lihan Morgana. but still bans are very interesting. First pick Galio. Oof. Lissandra still very popular in LCK. Going with Lissandra Braum. Whenever you draft Lissandra Braum together, you're telling the enemy team, I'm going to have a fucking strong team fight. Lissandra Braum together gives you such a great core for team fighting. It gives you engage, it gives you CC, it gives you defensive ways to buy time in team fights. It is such a core team fighting unit. You just need to draft carries and additional damage with Lissandra and Braum, but that itself is good team fighting like basis and a core to build off of. So SKT finishing up with Galio Jarbin. That's another very strong and another very popular team fighting core. It's a little bit more aggressive than a Braum Lissandra core. It gives you great engage and great follow up. And Azir into Lissandra means I am gonna outscale you. I am going to SKT. I think SKT is kind of understanding in how they approach this series is we are the better team and we're gonna outscale you. That's why you see the Azir pick coming in. So people are saying Azir is a counter to Lissandra. Why Lissandra at the moment doesn't really have true counters. She can wave push, wave clear so fast even versus her counter matchups. So even though Azir eventually outscales Lissandra and Azir is really good into Lissandra, it doesn't matter. And the scaling thing doesn't matter when Lissandra can just push wave and help the other lanes. So Azir does outscale Lissandra, but I wouldn't consider her a true counter pick. Tarzan going with Olaf. Olaf really good into Galio. Olaf good into Jarvan. Olaf good into Azir. Good pick all around. SKT going with the nerf Lucian into Israel. Lucian into Israel Braum. Pretty interesting. It seems like they don't want to back away from bot side prio, and they're picking Lucian to make sure they can maintain the prio. They feel like we already have the scaling for mid lane. We're going to draft a little bit more priority from bot side. Griffin finishing off their comp with Hecarim. Griffin comp is very standard Griffin. It's a comp that gets outscaled, that has really good team fighting prowess. That has been Griffin's core identity for a while. So Griffin sticking to their guns. And SKT going with the classic Korean approach. Let's draft the outscaling team fighting comp. Let's see how insane Faker's Azir is. Let me see it. The first game, Faker and Chovy really didn't interact. And they interacted with their enemy teammates more so than directly with Faker. With Lissandra Azir, they're going to interact more directly. So I'm curious to see how this team fight goes. Let's see it. Griffin invading with Braum, very standard. Wow, they play so much wars early. One thing that I really want to commend Griffin for is they came very prepped into this finals. In a sense, they were outmatched by SKT, but they came very prepared. Oh my god, this is actually so bad. Holy. How did SKT deal with that? Let's go watch it again. So they warded, and SKT realized they warded, and they stayed away from the wars, and they were ready to collapse. And they delayed going topside, and they just committed with the collapse. So Griffin, they only have 4 members here, so even though Braum gives you a stronger level 1, when you only have 4 members, it actually is not the stronger level 1, and SKT is able to collapse and finish them off. Wow, really good reply from SKT. Damn, they knew they could get the collapse, so they waited and they got it off. Con flashed. Yeah, con flashed. Con flashed to make sure he could get the kill. I'm curious to see how early game's gonna play out for Griffin. They're behind in jungle mid, which is like the really important parts. Ugh. Chobi getting killed again. Well, remember what we talked about? Azir being able to outscale Lissandra, and Lissandra being able to get the push on Azir early still. When your Lissandra goes 0-2 this early, Lissandra's not able to get the push on Azir, and Azir can maintain the dominance from start to finish. Damn, this is gonna be one of those games. It's gonna be one of those games. Akali has early Seeker's Armor Guard. She's gonna be invulnerable in lane versus Hecarim. Faker has 3 assists. Once Faker backs once, Chobi's gonna start getting outmatched in lane very quickly. Yeah, Faker needs 1 back and he's gonna start outmatching Chobi. I think he'll take the back right here. Okay, he's gonna push 1 more and then take the back. That's fine too. Yeah, pushes 1 more wave. He's gonna back on 0-2 Lissandra where he had 3 assists and he's up CS on the list. This is gonna be a nightmare matchup for the Lissandra now. Faker got boots, 2 attack speed daggers, and a fiendish codex. Like mid lane matchup has already shifted toward Faker. One thing I thought that was going to be problematic throughout the series was Thord on carries and how Thord was going to be able to play carries and kind of the prowess that he would show. I actually don't think that's been the problem for Griffin. Like Thord, like I thought that was going to be the problem, and that is one thing we have to watch out but so far, can you really blame Thord for what's going on? Thord hasn't been problematic in pick and bans. He hasn't been problematic in play. It's just what Griffin overall is trying to do as a team. Damn, I didn't remember game 2 being this brutal. I remember watching game 1 and game 2 live, but yeah, was game 2 this brutal when I watched it? Why do I call Lee Han? So in Korea, it's very common to shorten things to 2 syllables. So Lee Han's gets shortened to Lee Han. And Mad Life gets shortened to Meta. So there's Captain Jack gets shortened to Cap Jack. Koreans are really big on shortening to 2 syllables. So that's why I call Lee Han's Lee Han. Damn. SKT is so ahead early, and they have the tempo from bot side. Mata came early for the Herald. Mata came early for the Herald, and SKT shouldn't have got that Herald 100%, but Tarzan fucking showing up with his smites. And Viper getting caught out here, teleporting and getting killed by Teddy. Oh man. Damn, this performance from... overall, the people from Griffin that I would say is still showing up is Tarzan. Tarzan's still playing well. Okay, he wasn't trying to teleport topside and he got caught out. He got caught out and he tried to escape by teleporting and he got punished. Holy fuck, this game is brutal though. Tarzan getting the smite there and making sure they get the Herald is such a godsend for Griffin. Because if SKT got the Herald, they just use Herald mid lane and they're able to take mid turret. And Irelia's pretty not Irelia, Chobi's pretty useless for the rest of the game. Ugh. Trying to go on the Jarvan and Faker finishes them off. Oh, this game's so stompy. Faker got way far ahead way too early and the game's become way too stompy. Also, the Jarvan building full tank. Ugh. Faker Azir poggers. Trying to dive in Akali. How to dive in Akali with Shroud? You can't. You can't. It's a Akali with Shroud. Bam. I could feel the tilt from Chobi over the screen. I mean, it's a really awkward position as Griffin. You know you're getting outscaled. And you're just inching into it bit by bit by bit. Where do you take the game from here? Slowly get outscaled. Try to engage team fights, what, onto an Azir? That can get protection from Jarvan, that can get protection from Galio, onto the Akali that has Shroud. Oh, Griffin looks so mortal whenever you take away certain picks from them. I think Kalista, Galio, these are super important picks for Griffin. When you start taking them away, they look so mortal. Tarzan still looks damn good. Chobi looked damn good in game 1, and game 2 was just fucking tilt fest. This is starting to look like G2 OG. I would describe this more similar to Fnatic versus OG, where it does seem kind of close, but one team just has such a stranglehold control on the game, and you're watching it, but there's no excitement because it's very obvious which team will win. Oh, just overplay again and again from Griffin. So, one thing that's different from Griffin in the regular season and Griffin for this game is when I think of Griffin, they're actually on outscale, like they're on comps that require them to be proactive and that require them to team fight all the time, but they're just so good about not making mistakes that, oh my god, dying as you're teleporting. As like good as they are on these, or they're on comps that get outscaled, they're very calm about it. They always take the fights at the right timings. But Griffin that I see now is very frantic and taking unneeded fights and making sure, like, the Griffin I see is very different from the Griffin I saw in regular season and playoffs, or just in regular season, I guess, not in playoffs. I haven't seen them once in playoffs. This is the only time I've seen them in playoffs. Where on the other hand, SKT has consistently leveled up. I've never seen Chobi be this frantic on a champion before. When I think Chobi, he's always like super calm, super relaxed. Even when his team is failing, like he's still scaling up. Like that's the Chobi Akali that I saw in game 1. His team's failing around him, but he's still doing the right thing of farming and scaling up. This game's also the same as last game where SKT has already outscaled Griffin and they can take it slow. SKT will not start Baron unless they need to. They will only start Baron when it's 100%. They're not going to take a shitty fight. That is not the SKT way. They're going to keep waiting, and once the good fight is there, they're going to actually take it. But until then, SKT are going to keep waiting. Well, they're trying to start the fight on Faker, but Faker made a turret. And remember what we talked about? It's hard to dive in Azir. Also, Galio support. There's just no answer. I think that was the right call, going for Faker there when he's off in a side lane. But it was just so fucking impossible to kill the Azir plus the Galio when the Azir's running Cleanse, Flash, he has a Banshee. Yikes. Ugh. I don't think necessarily Griffin is playing bad at this point. It's just early game was so bad for them. Like at this point, it's hard for them to win. The scaling difference is so huge. Almost 9k gold difference on the comp that outscales too. What to do? Wait, that's it? Yeah, remember what I said about SKT and Barons? They will not do Baron if they don't need to. God damn. SKT's not giving an inch. They're not giving a single inch. Alright, let's go to game 3. But damn, this series is ending a lot faster than I thought it would. I was like, okay, if I start at 3:30, then by the time it's over, it'll be right around 5 and I can start listening Loco. But it's not even that. Like, the games are ending way too quickly. Alright, let's go back. Okay, Jace ban, Callista ban, Morg ban, Galio ban. SKT knows what they need to keep away from Griffin. Keeping the Galio away, keeping the Callista away. They know. Starting with Silas first pick again. It feels like a trap. You already picked Silas once and then you lost to SKT. It feels like a trap. You're going back to the game 1 draft where SKT beat you and you're going back to it again. Braum. When they did the Morgana Kenchban, I think they're signaling. By doing Morgana Kenchban again, they're signaling we want Talia Pantheon. And SKT read that and they took Braum early this time. They're adapting better too. You already lost with this. SKT already showed like we can beat you with this and you're leaning back into it again. And SKT's like they know how to play against it. They're gonna take Israel here. Yeah, they knew Braum Israel with the right counter into it and they're adapting and taking Braum early this time. Loco, do you think it's kind of bad to go these early game picks when the LCK is so slow? I think it's bad to go these early game picks when you've shown your hand again and you're just going back to it. When you go back to it, you're not going to win. If you had one shot to win with it in the first game, and when you don't do it in the first game, you're fucked. Like you can't run it back. SKT will be more than ready. Pog 뜻이 wow 그런 거예요. So someone in Korean asked me what Pog is, and then Pog just means wow. It's short for PogChamp or Poggers. SKT going with outscaling comp again. They see the Talia Pantheon. They read you like a book. It's not going to work. They read you. Elise jungle, even more early game. So this time Aatrox top and Silas mid. They're leaning back into a little bit of more comfort for Griffin, but at its core, Griffin is the early game team fighting team, must make something happen, and SKT is the outscaling team, and they're so comfortable to being the outscaling team and challenge them for it. SKT is so comfortable right now. Griffin opted into the same draft, and SKT recognized the kind of plays that Griffin was doing. Early game dive, early game pressure, level 6 swap into top lane double ult. That level 6 swap can go into mid lane double ult, but they've already shown their hands, and it didn't work the first time. So the second time, SKT is going to be even more prepared. I think this game is going to be an even bigger stomp than game 1. Oof. I like this approach to beating Griffin for SKT, and I'm sure they'll switch up their style when it comes to MSI. I don't think they'll go exactly this style into MSI, but I like this kind of SKT in terms of facing Griffin. A little bit more standard start from jungler, no invade. Oh my god, SKT actually the one skanking. Holy shit, he did the all the way from downtown route. So all the way from downtown is when you take red and then you walk all the way down for the level 2 gank. You can do it from red side and you can also do it from blue side. It's an unexpected gank timing that comes with a lot of risk. If you get it off, it's really good. If you don't get it off, it's an absolute failure, and they got it off. All the way from downtown. Can you repeat what this Talia Pantheon lane is supposed to do? The Talia Pantheon lane is supposed to kill them early. They're supposed to have a lot of pressure and they're supposed to kill them early. It's like a kill lane. It's an early game kill lane. Why no attempts at Sona Taric this series? It's just not popular in Korea. People don't think it's strong. People don't really play it. How is it unexpected, especially top lane, when laners know a level 2 gank is around 230? So they know that you can get level 2 ganked when the jungler starts closer to your side, right? So if a jungler starts here, then bot lane is very careful of the level 2 gank. But when jungler starts red, the top lane is not very careful for a level 2 gank because this pass is very rare. Like for them to start the opposite buff and walk all the way across the map and gank level 2 is very rare, and it's surprising, and it comes with a lot of risk. So the two things that I think SKT did really well in their series is play to scale and also deny Griffin tools. And anytime there's a wave built up and there might be potentially a dive, look at what Cliff does. He has his camp right here. He has this camp right here, and he's not going this. He's walking straight to lane to prevent the dive. Just overall, as a team, SKT understands what Griffin is trying to do with their comp, and they're preventing it much as possible. Damn. And then now Chobi's here also. 3v4 dive with Wave Dent. It's not going to happen. Just prep from SKT was so good. As well as they played, I really want to commend the as well as they prepped, I really want to commend their prep. I think their prep was also immaculate. For Griffin to win this game, they're going to need to blow up something in the side lane. Like, Talia Pantheon, when that lane is 0-0-0, it's a shitty lane. Talia Pantheon, if you go 0-0-0, you don't get turret plating, you don't get first turret. That lane is so shitty. That lane is only good when you get kills. Threaten the dive, force Aatrox to ult, and then back off. SKT is just more than fine to keep scaling. Rise scales like crazy, Riven's gonna scale like crazy, Ezreal's gonna scale like crazy. Who do I think underperformed the most on Griffin? Not Sword, not Tarzan. Hard to say, because Chobi had a terrible game 2 and a decent game 1. And for Viper and Lehand, they're just in a situation where they need to do something. So I think coaching staff actually underperformed the most. Like, how they prepped and their approach to this series was fucking garbo. Tarzan getting caught out there. Their approach to this series was just so fucking bad. Wow, Khan, you're gonna... Holy... What the fuck? You had flash. You could have just ran. Holy shit. You're surprised they didn't ban. Con is Pepega. Well, they were able to take 4 plating but not actually get first turret. They aren't able to get any kills on bot side. There's actually 2 kills that happened for SKT on the bot side, I would even argue. The kill they got onto bot lane, and then the kill they got onto Tarzan. Griffin's actually behind from bot side, in a sense. They get air Drake. And then remember what we said? Remember what we said? They're going to recall, and they're going to look for the top play with the ult. They recalled, they looked for the top play, it wasn't available. SKT just matched their swap. Like, if I beat you with a secret technique once, you're not going to fall for the secret technique twice. But I didn't beat you with my first secret technique. I actually lost to you with it, and then I tried it again. Like, I'm just so puzzled why Griffin gave us such a shitty game 3. Like, I really don't understand why they gave us such a shitty game 3. What was this one? Klid trying to contest. Chobi has pressure. Good ult from Pantheon. Okay. Can't handle the pressure in finals. I don't think it's they can't handle the pressure in finals. I don't really see them underperforming. It's just they really felt like they couldn't beat SKT in standard, and they had to go a different direction, and they went a different direction, and it was kind of garbo the direction they went. When you know it's not gonna work, just step off. It's really disappointing to see. Ugh, that's a light. Like this needed to happen a lot more often. Pantheon actually killing side lanes with Talia, but it didn't happen enough. This game's a little bit more scrappy than game 1, but it's not scrappy enough. Like SKT's fine on turrets. SKT's not getting blown out of the water. They're getting Inferno. It's just not that scrappy. With evenish games like this, like the Israel side is so much better off. Oh, okay, dive the aftershock rides. Okay, dive the aftershock rides. That wasn't gonna happen. Yeah, I use Streamlabs. I mean, it's just not gonna happen, like diving the aftershock ride. Oh, Daddy Nader, thank you so much for the sub. I just don't have alerts on because this is also gonna be a YouTube video, but appreciate the sub nonetheless. Thank you so much. Oh, this one looks a little bit better. Let's go back and rewatch this. This one looks a little bit better. But remember, in an even fight, when the fight trades are 4-for-4 or 5-for-5, it's much better for SKT. The fights are going to get harder and harder for Griffin when the fights are even like this. Tarzan uses Scuttle, or not Scuttle, Rift. They're trying to look to dive mid with the Scuttle. Con goes in on the Pantheon. What the fuck? Congo's in on the Pantheon by himself. Fight starts. They're able to kill Silas. Why, Con? Okay, Pantheon flashes on the Braum. Teddy and Clid chasing on the Braum. They're able to kill the Braum. Faker defending mid. Teddy able to chase down Viper. Faker died with sword. And then Teddy killing Elise. And then living. Damn, Teddy played that fight so well. But that was so troll by Con. And also remember what I said. When the fights are even, it's so good for SKT. And Teddy's gonna skill like crazy. Swaggy Boog, thank you so much for the 6 month sub, man. And Teddy's Teddy's insane. Like if you're gonna play Israel, you have to if you're gonna play Ezreal, you're gonna have to play it at Teddy's level. Oh, no, I don't understand this Con play. Holy fuck. That was just straight trolling. Con with the broken ankle. That was just straight troll. Nobody understands that Con play. And there's no explanation for it. It's just straight trolling. It was legit just straight trolling. Con's actually caught up so much. This game Con's playing much looser. He's playing Ribbon and he's also playing the game much looser. So many bad moments from him. When should you go Trinity Force on Ezreal? These kind of games where they have a lot of AP damage and also... Oh shit, let's watch this fight first. Oh man, this oh, fuck, I hate that Con's going off in this fight because he played garbage the entire game and then he gets one good fight. I think recently a lot more people have been going Trinity Force. So the fight starting on Mata, who's more than fine to just get out. A lot of things went on Faker. Con able to kill Dragon and Talia. Able to clean up on the Pantheon. And then going to be able to clean up on Chovy. That was desperation from Griffin. They knew they were getting outscaled. They knew they were getting outscaled and they didn't want to give up Dragon. So they forced the fight and that's game over. They forced the fight so hard. Sword started the fight with his ult, but it did so little. And Viper forced himself to be in the middle of the fight and he got insta-gibbed after. Oh, so much forcing. SKT has Baron. They're still going to take it slow. They don't want to get engaged on. They're just slowly taking outer turrets. They know how much control they're in. Take it slow, take it slow. You guys are in control. You guys have the outscaling comp. You guys are already outscaled. Bring back Huni. I think Khan's a better player than Huni. Huni's actually so one-dimensional now. Where Khan improved his play and he's a little bit more well balanced. I will say Huni looked best on SKT than anywhere else, but still I would rather have Con over Huni, even to this day. That was probably the lowest quality finals of yet of all major regions, including NA. I think this was one of the most one-sided finals. I actually, never mind. The G2 OG final was the most one-sided, but this was the most strategical win of the finals. This was very like SKT had a strategical stranglehold on Griffin, and that strategical edge, and Griffin could never really like wrestle away from it. Like, this is very much like 2017 Korean team style. They're trying their best to kill Ezreal, not happening. They wasted so much to try to kill Ezreal, and then now they don't have things for Ribbon, and Ribbon and Rise, along with Ezreal, able to clean up the fight. That's game. Talia doing her best to defend the wave, not happening. Clid making sure Talia can't defend the wave. Ugh. That's game. And this is how the Griffin hype dies. And this is how the hype dies. I really want to commend SKT and their coaching staff. I think their approach to the game was so good. They knew which tools to deny from Griffin. They knew if they deny them Callista Galio, they can't snowball like they want to, and they can just pick outscaling comps while denying them Callista Galio, and they did exactly that. Wow, congrats to SKT. So a little bit of thought for SKT going into MSI. I think the version of SKT we saw was aimed very much so at defeating Griffin. I think this 3 games SKT showed, this is how we beat Griffin. This is how we're going to be better than Griffin. And when SKT plays versus other teams at MSI, they're going to show a different aspect of SKT. So I'm very excited for SKT going into MSI. I know I'm more hyped for G2, and I think G2 is a little bit more suited for the meta, but I also don't think SKT is the slow scaling team. They're not always going to be the slow scaling team, and they will adjust at MSI and as they play different teams and not just Griffin.